How do you deal with your mortality? Does it mess with you? Are you accepting it? Are you cool? We just saw recently, is it James Van Der Beek that we lost from Dawson's Creek? And he made a video about getting closer to God. I'm sure you saw Eric Dane, Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
And I saw a video of Robert Duvall back in the days of him doing an interview about Godfather and Marlon Brando and how opinionated he was about the role. But how do you deal with your mortality?
I recognize that there's no such thing as death because the energy, the wave crests up and then it drops into a trough and then it reforms up again. But even when it drops in a trough, it's still there. But it's just an unseen part of it. There's no real death. Everything that comes from us ends up still feeding the next thing. And all living things feed off of living things. So it's a transitional process. And like when I met my wife, it felt like her and I had been looking for her for 1,000 lifetimes and didn't know that I had been looking for her. I felt eternity at that moment. And knowing that, okay, yeah, this is starting to crack. The seams are starting to be seen in this. It means that in a minute I get to relax again. I get to go back to sleep. And then when I'm reborn, and my philosophy is everything goes from positive to negative, breathing in and breathing out. So the next lifetime, I believe you end up as a male. The older we get, what happens? Our testosterone drops, our estrogen levels rise, our prostate, which has the same fibers or tissue that the uterus has, it begins to swell. And like women that typically go through their period and all of that, our bodies, when we lose our testosterone, is slowly becoming more effeminate. Naturally, we get older, we got to try not to grow boobs as men, we get softer and all that. So I think in the next lifetime, you don't breathe in twice without breathing out once, so you go from masculine to feminine.
So you think next lifetime you're going to be a woman?
You have to go into the feminine side.
You really believe that?
Oh, my goodness. That's the only way there would be equanimity. Otherwise, you can't breathe in twice or 3 times without breathing out once. It has to be the ebb and flow. The cloud moves forward a little bit, then the cloud takes a step back, and then it pushes 2 forward, and then it takes a step back. So that equanimity, I think, allows for karma to take place because what we've done in this lifetime as males will be done to us in the next lifetime as females. And sooner or later, you learn how to be extra medium and stay right in the center and not do too much.
You really believe this?
Honestly.
When did you come to this conclusion?
Maybe about 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Just looking.
What prompted it?
Just looking at the conversion of electricity into magnetism. Electricity does the same thing. It's always seeking that higher pressure condition. And when it gets to the very center, like it comes in through the North Pole and through the South Pole, and when it gets to the center of the Earth and has no place left to go, and it keeps still trying to spin right, and there's no room for it, so it's forced to spin to the left. And it comes out as radiation, as magnetism at the equator. That's just the natural process. And if elements do the same thing, they start off lithium as a +1 and you get into the next octave. At the very end of it, it's made as fluorine on this side, +1 and a -1. And you go into the next octave, the fluorine, which was the mate for lithium. Now in the next octave, that fluorine becomes sodium. It goes masculine. And then that sodium bonds with chlorine, and in the next octave, the chlorine becomes potassium. So it's going from male to female. And if as above, so below, and if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. Find the common factor and multiply and divide. So if we're made up of all these elements, these chemicals that's doing these things, and consciousness comes as a result of these interactions, then the entire universe must take this same walk. If one is doing it, the one thing that everything is based on, if this is how the foundation moves, I'm sorry, the boat is going to move according to how the seas move. And that's all we are, boats or waves on this thing of the universe popping up. We still have to follow that path.
Was this prompted 10 years ago by you having man boobs and you said, maybe this is what's going to happen? Is that kind of like, is that like, hey, I used to have muscles up here. I used to be able to flex.
No, I think it started with a friend of mine was having prostate issues.
How old was he?
He was only 60, and he was having serious prostate issues. And I began studying what the prostate is like and trying to find a solution for him. And that's when I realized that the testes ultimately pull up and become ovaries, and the prostate becomes the uterus. And in the feminine side, the uterus drops down and becomes the prostate. The ovaries drop down and they become testicles. The clitoris becomes the penis. All of that stuff, it's just an in and out process. The universe is very simple. It's not complicated. Now we can throw all these other things, like you throw religion in there, and it tells you that you're going to die and then you're going to float up into the heavens. But when have we seen that happen? How does that fit with the sustainability of our ecology, of our environment, of our universal flow? There's always a back and forth. You know, how is it that a male god had a male son without a feminine counterpart of as above, so below? You know, those are the things we follow, these myths or religious understandings that we've been taught without questioning them. Without question. If somebody said, oh, I had a dream today and an angel showed up and told me to do da-da-da-da-da-da-da, most people would look at them like they were insane. But most of our faith is based off of someone that had an interaction like that. But it was told to us by someone with authority, our mother, our father, and it was told to them by someone with authority. And we give that authority, and wherever they got that information, whether it's from the Hebrew Bible, whether it's from the Quran, whether it's from, the ancient texts of the Veda, we believe it based upon the authority that someone else has put in it. But many things we haven't questioned for ourselves. Hi, everyone. My name is Terrence Howard. I'm an actor, but in the field of science also. So if you would like to connect with me, you can connect with me on Connect. The QR code is down below, and let's have a great conversation.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.